Dave Cooper is co-founder and host of Dave Cooper Live. If you haven't met him, you really should. He has over 20 years experience in the construction industry and shares information he gains from the AEC industry experts on his weekly online video series. Dave and his family are currently traveling across the United States. I think that's no longer applicable because they've sold their motorhome, but they frequently stop and showcase behind-the-scenes stories of those using modern methods of construction to build it better. Dave can often be found moderating panel discussions or acting as master of ceremonies. It's probably like, God, she's doing a crappy job, at events like this. Like the International Wood-Based Conference, Building Systems Council Summit, and the International Builders Show hosted by the National Association of Home Builders, one of the largest trade associations in the United States. Dave started out as a combat trauma medical specialist in the US Army, serving multiple tours in Southeast Asia. He was also a rescue worker at the World Trade Center immediately following the 9/11 attacks. So he's a hero too. A father of three, Dave's true passion is coaching youth hockey and helping others succeed. Please welcome Dave Cooper.
Well, thank you for that, Cindy. And I think you did an amazing job. All right. So when does my 15 minutes start? Because that's like my opening of pretty much every show, about 15 minutes. But I do want everybody to recognize, since I've been here, we have met folks from the Czech Republic, Poland, Boston, Massachusetts, right? And I also believe Lisbon. So this is a global audience, and this is something that we do on our show on a regular basis. And I'm assuming I'm using this mic, not this mic, right? Perfect. So we're going to have a fast-paced presentation today. I have never done anything in 15 minutes in my entire life, especially on our show. So we're going to just run through. I'm going to try and give you so much knowledge of what's happening around the world in 15 minutes, and then we can go from there. I'm going to be around all afternoon and all night. But I also want to thank Howick for what they're doing. It is so important that as an industry, we start collaborating and talking with each other. There's a long way to go. We have a long way to grow. We are tired of being in last place when it comes to innovation. Howick's making that change, and some of the people that we're talking about during our presentation, hopefully will show you that. We'll show you that as well. All right, so Cindy gave you a little bit of behind the scenes on what we do. And basically, to sum it up, our show is live, it's interactive. We showcase the people, the products, and the processes that are building it better. And as Cindy said, we have been doing this on our live show. And right now, just our YouTube channel a lot. We're very niche. We are not a million follower YouTuber, but we're averaging about 300,000 minutes watched. That's 5,000 shows, 1-hour shows every month that's being watched. The education's starting to work, and bringing the innovation out to all of you is making it happen. And I have to say thank you to all of you. And some of you in the audience, we had a chance to visit their site. Without you, we can't do what we do. If we all work together, we can all grow together, and we can all prosper together. We can build better, build more sustainable homes, and really get the ball rolling. So let's get into it here. So who is Dave Cooper Live? Like we said, we talk about the complexity of this fragmented industry that we are in. We have a global brand issue. How do we change that? What are we going to do to change it? How are we going to do it together? How are we going to build it better? And that's what we're going to talk about. And some of the things that we talk about on our show, let me go through here, is the Build It Better show. Now, what's fun about the Build It Better show? We have been traveling in that motorhome for 2 years around the United States. This is our second trip to Europe. We got 2 more trips coming up in July and in August. And exactly like Cindy said, we travel around and we showcase people that are building it better. We live stream from manufacturing facilities, from job sites. This week on high-rise buildings, running up and down scaffolding. It's a lot of fun bringing all this knowledge to all of you out there. I got a lot of notes because I have, like I said, guts to go through and be very particular and very exact about what we're talking to, because what are the problems we're all trying to solve? Productivity, reduce waste, cost predictability, client satisfaction and safety, the climate agenda. These are all things that we talk about on our show day after day, year after year. That's 4 days a week we do this right now. 4 days a week we're interviewing people from around the world to discuss these very topics. And I will tell you this, the good news is You start checking the box off on one of these topics, it automatically starts flowing to the other topics. You're not doing one without the other. So achieving the climate agenda and where you want to go is very achievable, and you just have to start somewhere, and that's the best part about this. You add in the pandemic, right? What happens with the pandemic? We're going to add health and safety into all the other issues that we're now dealing with as a company, as a general contractor, as a manufacturer. We got work from home, and we're already struggling with the labor force. So how are we going to create a culture of sustainability and safety? How are we going to extend the lifespan of our current existing workforce? How are we going to bring in the new entrants, the young people, the people with the digital knowledge? How are we going to share that knowledge from the older folks that are leaving our industry in record numbers and early? Those are the questions that we need to answer, because it's not changing anytime soon for any of us. So some of the ways that it's currently happening. If you look on the left, this is AutoVol. That is a 400,000 square foot fully automated manufacturing facility, $110 million investment, and that attracts young people. That's high tech, that's automation, that's robots, that's cool. But that's unachievable for 99.9% of the rest of us, right? We look on the right here. This is Laos Trust, Simple Wood Trust Company. Know what they've done? They have partnered with the justice system to rehabilitate and train incarcerated people. Think about that. They live near a prison. So their workforce that they're struggling to get, they're working with the incarcerated, justice-challenged individuals and bringing them into what they do. How about just education in general? These are some of the companies that are doing it. You got CADCO, HBI, Home Builders Institute, Uncommon Construction, and On3. Uncommon Construction, which was on the last slide, they take young people, they put them on a job site, they build a house right next to a trade-skilled master carpenter, plumber, MEP contractor. They learn the trade. And these are kids from high school and inner city. But guess what happens here? When they sell that project, those kids get money put towards their education. They not only learn a trade, but they are rewarded with the profits from the build, which is amazing. On3, Paul Cardis. This is probably the greatest technology that's come out for our generation when it comes to training. So you want to look them up. On3 is using AI. That hard hat has artificial intelligence in it, but it also has something similar to a Google Lens. It's not the Google Lens, but you can say, hey, On3, show me how to pour a slab, or hey, On3, show me how to run this through a Halleck machine. It'll actually come up video, they can watch it, but it can also catch them if they're doing something wrong. It's not just in the hard helmet, it's also on the phone. I highly recommend that if you're looking to train your staff, you want to take a look at this. How do we get to all of this in the future of your business, right? The incremental automation of your manufacturing facility. Or do you not? How many people in here have heard of Ken Semler, Impressa Modular? Anybody? Christoph back there has heard of Ken. The interesting thing about Ken Semler and what he has done is he got frustrated. He builds modular volumetric in all 50 states. All 50 states. And he could not get his product, supply chain, labor issues, all the things that were happening. So he decided to create his own manufacturing facility. The amazing thing about his manufacturing facility, there's no automation. He is building using the best practices that he has learned from working with factories all across the country and using lean manufacturing practices with his process. It's all in the process. You hear Jerry McCarthy say it all the time, right? The profit is in the process. He's building houses faster than the fully automated robotic manufacturing facility. So there's hope, right? There's hope we can get out. Go over here to Integra. How many people know Integra? Probably from Ireland, right? So many people know Jerry Fios. What they have done is taken their system and they fully integrated it into a manufacturing process. It's not hard. It's pretty much simple framing machines, cut machines, but they have dialed it in with such precision and they made a system. Floors, walls, and the ceiling. And of course, the giant in the room, AutoVol. That's the next route. I mean, that's the big player out there. That is the big boy on top of the podium, as they say. But the thing you have to understand, that's not achievable for everybody. And the difference with what they have done and why they have done it, they knew where they were going. That's the lesson. They understand their market, they understand their product, they understand their process, and they also understand who their customer is. That factory yard is so full that they're already looking at multiple other factories. Think about that. And I think that's the lesson for a lot of people in here to learn. You have to know and understand your market, your product, your pipeline of your customers. And if you know that, you can then determine the direction of where you're headed. Crate Modular. I don't know if anybody's heard of Crate, but here's a simple concept of somebody that has taken incremental automation to the next level. They started off just taking containers, modifying them, and now they're building full volumetric modular steel buildings, but they did an incremental approach. Those buildings used to be the containers, and you can see them there. But now they've incorporated, cold form steel framing technology, and they've taken it one step further. Trying to go fast, Cindy. I'm so trying. All right. So what's changing the way we build? Our supply chain is a disaster. How many people are going to have a hard time getting products around the world, right? It's a disaster. So what is changing? Obviously, the new entrants that are coming into the market is what's changing. So when we look at Bamcor, Hemplock, Broad USA is using stainless steel to build high-rise buildings, to include their floor system, no concrete, all stainless steel. Lightweight, 10 times lighter than concrete, right? RSG 3D with their product. And by the way, hemp, just so you all know, you can't smoke hemp. It is marijuana, but if you put it in your factory, I'm telling you now, you're not going to be smoking it, and your employees won't be smoking it either. But as we look at this, these products are lighter, stronger, more durable, more resistant, less than body carbon. They're safer, they're healthier to use. I mean, a lot of the insulation that's coming out in hemp, you don't need to block it off, wear respirators, none of that stuff. You're not spraying it, it's not fiberglass, but it's sustainable and it's moving things to the next level. Digitization. Products and process, right? Improve on-site collaboration, transform how we buy and sell, and how are we going to optimize the supply chain? We're talking about parametric design, generative design. Is anybody out there using any of these technologies now? I know a couple of you are. I know Bryden Wood here is using it. I just saw it this week, right? You got Archistar, you got Creatomus, you got Creo software, you got Slate Technologies, which is super cool. They're using AI, artificial intelligence, to help you design. Can you imagine if you're drawing something out and your computer says, no, you're messing this up. Fix it here. It'll work better in this format than that format, and it'll go right down the production line. That's what's kind of going on right now with machine AI. And then you got Manufacton, you got Moducore, which are ERP solutions in the modular space. They are taking all the knowledge of what they've learned, taking the bomb of your manufacturing process, and they're putting together end-to-end solutions. And this is key here. Nobody's really done full end-to-end, and we're going to talk about that in just a moment. Who's embracing these technologies? Buy a build. Anybody here buy a build? It's kind of cool. Go on their line, just like Tesla. You just pick your house, your color, hit order, and the house ships to you. It's pretty amazing stuff. You got builds, you got full stack modular, you got volumetric building company that has been partnering with everybody to grow bigger and around the world. And they're all looking at productization. How many people in here are trying to productize their product? Anybody? Right, a few hands. This is so important to look at how you are bringing value to the supply chain. Value to the supply chain is super important. Apex Wiring. Anybody hear of Apex Wiring? And I know I'm probably running on time, so I'm going quick. Apex Wiring is wiring modular. They said, we're not just going to supply the wires anymore. We're going to do all the wiring for your building. You're going to send us the plan, send us the wiring diagram, and we're going to modularize it. It's click and play. It comes in a box. You just put it in your factory or on the job site. It's amazing stuff. It's quick, it's efficient, and you don't have to have too much skilled labor to do it. You got Harris Mechanical at the bottom. I'm going to skip a couple of these. Harris is one of the largest MEP contractors in the United States, union-based. That stack over there is the stack to a multi-story building, all the mechanicals, MEPs, running right up to the center. Not only do they do that, they do horizontally as well as vertically. They've modularized their system, and they will come in your factory and put it in, or they'll come on the job site like that and drop it in. They work with you as a partner. And that, my friends, is how it's starting to happen. Who's out there challenging the status quo? Eightfold Houses we have in Italy, Boxable in Nevada. They raised $100 million crowdsourced private money. They just raised it. Foldable houses. Gropius. And I don't know if anybody knows a Gropius in here, but they are doing some very high-tech automation in their factory. But the great thing about Gropius is well, they've actually included their own operating system. All of their buildings talk to them. That light goes out in the hallway, you don't call the supervisor. That data goes straight to the maintenance person. Straight to the maintenance person. But they're collecting this data. You're not using those plugs, they'll know on the next building not to put plugs there. They'll put more plugs where they see people using them. Now you may say that's a little intrusive on my privacy and all those things, but this is where it is headed, and this is what we need to pay attention to, and we got to look at it. You guys are going to find out, if you're not already, data is king. That is what's starting to happen. We're starting to look at data in this industry like every other industry looks at data. Boxy, love this company. No automation, building inside a factory. Two 25-year-old brothers in the heart of Louisiana think this is the coolest industry ever. They call me Mr. Dave. They say, Mr. Dave. Good to see you, Mr. Dave. And I love it. But they are looking to incrementally grow their business to the next level, and they're challenging the status quo of age. There are other young companies out there around the world that are doing similar things to the Boxy brothers, and we need to celebrate it, and we need to present them whenever we can. TGE Construction. Anybody ever hear top-down building? They build everything on the first floor. They bring in their modules, they bring in their bath pods, they put it on the floor, and they lift the entire building up. Top floor first. Start the next floor. They bring it all in, put all their modules, all their pods in, and they build from the top down. Lift it up, lock it in place. This is the technology. Essentially, their assembly line becomes the first floor of the building. Broad USA, talked a little bit about them. They're using stainless steel. They have a flip technology. You can see how one box flips into another box. Others that are challenging the status quo. You got Fading West and Audubon. And Audubon's in here a lot because they really are pushing the boundaries. But what's different with them? They're working with developers. These are two companies that have figured out their pipeline, and their pipeline's developers. You look at ModLogic, Bud Invest. We got Christoph sitting back here. Raise your hand, Christoph. Right, Christoph, he's doing modules, light steel. He's doing wood, furniture now, I heard. I mean, the guy's doing everything. But partnering. He believes in collaboration. He travels around the world to meet people so he can work out partnerships for their business to grow and succeed. And then you got the Polcon Group, volumetric building companies, and they have formally joined forces with several other manufacturers out there. Also challenging the status quo. We got Bryden Wooden here sitting right in the front. We're at their facility on Monday. You should see what they're doing with technology. And they are partnering with builders and developers to take their businesses to the next level and help them improve their process and do it in a way using technology. Using technology. M&AR on the left. Anybody ever hear about quarterbacking your projects? What they do, they not only design your project, they make sure your project's going down the manufacturing line properly, they make sure the job site's running properly, and they deliver the project to the customer. Frameclad, where's Mark? I loved my visit to a lot of these manufacturers here in England because there's so much innovation happening everywhere, and I added a few things, right? So Frameclad has two manufacturing facilities using light gauge steel, Howick machines, but they're taking it to the next level. They are adding value to the supply chain. We go back to that value to the supply chain. How can you take what you have and make it better for the next person in line for them to use? They have product, they have process designed into their system. They can do bespoke products, or they can do the biggest projects out there. and that is what they're good at. And then we were also at British Offsite, climbing up and down a high-rise building. I don't think everybody was happy with us yesterday doing that. It was hot and over there. But with what they're doing, they have taken steel frame walls, panelized walls, and they've made a hybrid approach. Think about high-rise buildings. You got the concrete columns like you see around here, and they built a panel system to fit in between those walls that you can adjust any length, how wide you want them, whatever you want. It's quick, it's fast, it's simple. Imagine being on the 3rd floor, your 1st floor is already dried in and been dried in since the concrete cured on the 2nd floor. This stuff is impressive. Stay tuned for that video. It's going to be great. TLC Modular, Vietnam, Stack Modular from China. They're shipping all over the world. Z Modular, we were just talking about that in here. They have come up with a special clipping for their modules, their volumetric steel modules. Just sets down. You don't have people on ladders. Those days are gone. Modules set down, they clip together, done deal. You're lucky. How'd I do on time? I'm getting there. Listen, I'm going to leave you guys with something, though. I really want to leave you with this. Innovation is everywhere, right? And there's 2 things that I want to leave everybody with. Collaboration and sharing of the knowledge will be the keys to this industry's success. Collaboration and the sharing of knowledge will be the key to this industry's success. And this is something Brian Wood, I found out, also adopted. The technology to take your businesses to the next level exists. It is out there. Just find how it fits into your business and use it to your advantage. That's how you're going to grow and scale. We don't need to create wheels again and bread slicers and all that. There's process and product out there that we can already adapt into our system. So thank you for your time.